Hello. All right, friends. So I tried to make this video, I think, 4 times since, during last 2 days, but somehow I lost the recording and then there were issues in the software also, due to which I couldn't complete it. But anyways, I'm just giving it a try once again. If it's not going to work, then we'll see what to do. So I think we are meeting after close to 3 weeks or maybe 2 weeks, I'm not sure. So I was down with severe neck pain, and then I was also having issues with my eyes. I have a problem of dry eyes, and also um, I had to visit doctors and take some medication. So now I'm feeling better, so would like to continue today. So I have been receiving a lot of good feedbacks on my channel. Um, lot of appreciation, and then I can see a lot of people are following my videos, so it's good. I'm really happy if you guys can take some benefit out of it. So that's something helping me to solve my purpose. So thanks once again, and thanks for all the appreciation. Basically it's not just me, even my family members are also happy after going through those reviews. So I'll just try to keep on sharing my knowledge, and then once we are done with the web, I don't know when, but whenever we are done, uh, I'll also share my knowledge on the project management and then all the PMP concepts and all. So will take a lot of time, but then slowly and steadily we will be achieving our goal. So in my last session, what I was talking is basically IDOC. It's something which contains and the data in the form of a segment, and eventually we need to convert the data into an internal table, and then take it into work area, and then do looping and all, modify the data. We can apply user exits in between. So now we are going to discuss all those concepts. So before we do that, what I'll do, if possible, I'll try to show you the communication between two different systems using the IDOC technique, and then uh, maybe I'll try to upload this video, because what happened, the other videos which I created in last 2 days, those were like more than 1 hour, and then somehow I couldn't upload it, and then I lost everything. So let me just show you the communication. Let me just help you with the concept, and then probably we'll do 1 or 2 more sessions to cover the remaining concepts. So, so these are the very basic steps which we have to do. So we need to create a logical system. So logical system is like basically we are giving a name to the system. So it's like iPhone 4S, and then obviously it's a model, but then we are saying like it's uh, James iPhone, and then the other guy is having like uh, Ramesh Galaxy, something like that. We are giving a name. So here we are giving a name to the sender, and we are giving a name to the receiver. So it has to be done in both the systems. And once you give the name, you need to assign that name to a logical system. So which means you need to assign those logical system name to a client. So for example, I have a client 800 and I have another client 950. So whatever logical system you are creating, you need to assign it to that client. And then we need to establish an RFC connection between both the systems. We need to define a port through which data would be traveling. And also we need to do a distribution of the model, means data traveling model. And then we need to distribute it to both the systems. And then what we need to do, we need to generate a partner profile, and then we can send and receive the data. So we are going to use standard transactions provided by SAP, which will help us to send the material from source and then receive it in the target. So that's all we are going to do in this session. And then if it's like 30 minutes or so, then I'll try to upload it, because I have been wasting a lot of time. And then in fact in the last video I just uh, recorded a lot of other concepts also, but then I lost everything. So anyways, so I have a system. This is E6i system. This is going to be my receiver system. And then I have another system, EH6, this is going to be my sender system. So very first step which we need to do here is go to the transaction SALE. You can see SALE. So basically it's ALE related customizing. and then once you open this, go to basic settings, then go to logical systems, select define logical system. So this logical system is nothing but a table maintenance view wherein no, what you can do, you can maintain some data. So what I did, I maintained the data with the name uh, E6i CLNT 800. So the nomenclature goes like this: E6i is my system name, CLNT is hard coded, 800 is client. So I just maintained an entry here, E6i 800. So this is going to be my target. And then you go back. So you can just do a new entry, maintain like this. So right now we are into source. We are maintaining this. Okay. Go back. Then click on next one. Next step, assign logical system to the client. Hit OK. So again, you need to click on new entry. I have already done this. So you'll get this screen. Give the client name, give some description, and then give the logical system name, which we just created in the previous step. Currency as USD, client role demo, give some blah blah blah. And then once you are done, then just save it. So go back. Now repeat the same step in the target system as well. So go to basic setting, go to logical system, define logical system, and then I did the same thing. I have defined it here like this, and then what I did, I assigned it to the client. Same thing I did here. So till now I did not do anything special. I just created a client, a logical system name, and then I just assigned it to the client. Now so once you are done, my step is over. Step 1 and 2 is over. Next would be to establish an RFC connection. So since my source is this client TH6, so I need to go to SM59, go to ABAP connection, select this and click on create. So you'll come to this screen. So 1 second, I will go to that screen. So you'll get a screen like this. Give the RFC destination name here. So you are going to connect to 800 clients. So give a meaningful name here. Connection type should be 3, which means ABAP connection. Description could be anything. So now I am into Logon and Security tab. So here I need to give the username and password to connect to that system. Okay. So in this tab, you just provide the username and password through using which you will be logging to the target system. And in the technical setting tab, you need to give the host name, which means target server details, and then system number. So it's hidden here, just trying to hide it. So give the host name and then give the system number. The moment you hit enter, IP address will be captured automatically, and then save it. So once you save it, then click on connection test. So which is not required because it's already done. So you can do a connection test. You should get all green. I would say everything should be successful. Everything is success here. So go back and hit on remote logon. So I clicked on remote logon. Automatically I got logged in to my target system, that is E6i. So source to target connection is done now. Very simple, nothing special. You can also do it if you have two different systems, if you have proper server details and all, you can do it. Nothing special. Okay, so next step would be to create a port. So we'll be creating a port in the source system using the transaction WE21, and then go to transactional RFC and then select this click on create. So you'll get a screen like this. Give a meaningful description and give the RFC destination, which is your target system. So you're doing it in your source. Assign the RFC destination name here. So once you are done, you can go back, and then port is done. So you need to create a model view which will be having the details of your source, target, and the message type, which is going to be passed, and then that will be distributed. So next step would be to go to the transaction BD64. So this is your transaction BD64. So edit, model view, create, give some name, some meaningful name. Then edit, add message type. So sender would be your EH6 system, receiver is E6I system, message type is, I'm putting a standard message type MATMAS, MATMAS. You can add one more message type in this. Let's say cremas. So cremas is basically to send the vendor. Matmas is related to material, standard message type. So you can see we are having the details here. You can add one more here. Sender is this, receiver is this. We have deb mass. So deb mass is for customer master. Hit OK. So once you are done, click on save button. So next step would be to generate the partner profile. So one second. So click on environment and generate partner profile. So once you do that, you'll get this screen, and then from here you need to execute this. So I'm going to execute this. So the moment you execute, you'll get this screen wherein everything is in green. Partner profile is fine, RFC destination is fine, port is fine, outbound message is fine. So why I am just pausing it in between? No, I want to hide some sensitive info related to maybe it could be some client or something. It's obviously it's an IDOC server, but just to avoid any any conflict if somebody wants to claim that. So I mean just wanted to declare it's an IDOC system only, but then still. So I'm just trying to hide some info. That's the reason I'm just putting a pause in between, and then. So once again I'm going to pause it. One second. Yeah. So from here you need to click on back button. So once you click on back button, you'll come to this screen, and then again you should click a back button again so that you can go to your model view. So we are here now. Select this and then edit, model view, distribute. So your target system would be selected by default. Hit OK. So you can see that model view is changed successfully. So here also we got a green message. So which means this setup is now distributed amongst your source and target client. Now in the source system, we can go to WE20 to check the partner profile. So under logical system, if you click on this system, you can see that we are going to send cremas, debmas or matmas kind of IDOCs to this system. Okay, so now we have standard programs provided by SAP which can send the material from one system to other system. So we have a T code called BD10. So here what you can do, you can go here and select a material which you want to send from your source to target. Give the target client's detail here. So you'll get this message, one master IDOC setup, one communication IDOC setup, means you are on right track. Take this material and go to your target system. Execute the T code BD11, give the material name, and you are going to receive it. Execute this. So it got received. Now if I go to W02 to check the list of the IDOCs, if I execute this, so you'll see 3 IDOCs here, but if I check the latest one, if I double click on this one, and then if I go to data record, if I click here, you can see that we sent Z0009, which we were sending. Now if I go to my target system, go to W02, check all the IDOCs, click on the latest one, double click, go to the data record. So Z0009 is here now. It's received. Now you can see the direction is 2 here, which means it's inbound to this system. Obviously it's receiving it, and then if you come here, direction is 1, which means it's moving out. So this is how the communication happens, and then we are leveraging the standard setup, standard programs. Now we have another T code slash BD12. So BD12, we can send the customer here. So output type would be debmas going to this customer is, we need to choose a customer. Okay, execute this. One master IDOC, one communication IDOC, we are on right track. Now go to your source system, BD13, get customer, give the customer name as 1, message type is debmas. Okay, so if I go to W02 now in my source, execute this. So this IDOC did not move out, no global company code. Okay, so there is some problem in the data, and that's the reason it didn't move out. But then this is how we make the communication happen between two systems. So since I'm talking about two systems, which means two different systems with two different clients. Okay, so that way we need to follow this step, model view distribution, that is BD64. As of now we did in source system. If you want to and fro communication, you need to do it in your target system as well. Okay, and then if you're just trying to pass the data in the same system between two different clients, then you don't need to do this model view distribution. So if you guys have access to two different IDs, so and they are in the same network, or even if other network, and then you have the target host and all, you can connect it, you can connect easily. Then you just try to execute the steps which I just explained here. It's very simple, and then it's very easy. Don't worry about IDOC going to error and all, because as I said, it's a dummy system, lot of problems will be there in this one. So okay, so so the other thing which I wanted to explain is, if you get an IDOC in error, so let's say this is my target system, so what you can do, you can go to BD87 and then select those problematic IDOCs, and then you can hit on process. So you can process an IDOC which is in error mode via BD87. And then we have another T code WE19, that is test tool for IDOC. So sometimes what happens, you have an IDOC in production and then you have a similar IDOC in QA of the same message type, but data content is different. Then what you can do, you can go to your QA, open WE19. Okay, give the IDOC choose some IDOC with a similar message type and then execute this. So you'll get this kind of screen, and then you can do same thing in production also. Open the IDOC which is having the problem, and then what you can do, you can click on every segment and then you can modify the data. So that way you can redesign an IDOC in your system where you want to analyze the problem. And then you can hit on standard inbound if it's an inbound one. You can click on standard outbound if it's an outbound one, and then you'll get the messages. So when you click on standard inbound, and so you can see that there is a function module assigned to this which will be taking care of this IDOC. So so if I continue, it will generate a new IDOC, but then because there are errors in this system, so it's not processing it. So this is how you uh, analyze the problems in an IDOC. So the other thing which I wanted to tell you is error handling of IDOC. So if you are in an environment where a lot of IDOCs are coming to your system or going out of your system on a daily basis, then one thing which you can do with the help of your basis guys to activate the workflow error handling for IDOCs. So that way what will happen, so basis guys will be doing it. So what will happen, uh, they will activate the workflow for IDOCs, and then it will trigger an email or some notification to the corresponding business group or business user, and then they will try to troubleshoot it. That is one way. Other way is like basis guys, since they provide 24/7 support in most of the cases, so they can apply some monitoring strategy, and then they can monitor the IDOCs. Whenever there is an IDOC failure, they can notify to the concerned team. So everything can be done. I have seen in few organizations that the moment an IDOC fails, it automatically creates a ticket with the help of workflow and then gets assigned to the concerned group, concerned support group. So various ways of handling an IDOC. So these were the one which are most common. So and then I spoke about WE19. I discussed about uh, yeah, BD87. Then if I go to okay, go to my say one of my system and try to see the inbound IDOCs. Okay, IDOCs are not here. One second. So we have some of the IDOCs which are related to orders, sales order. So these are inbound to our system. You can see inbox, it's inbound to our system. If I open this IDOC, so you can see that partner number is T90 CLNT09T. Go to the control record. So port is SAP T30, and then partner is E6I CLNT 800. So I'm going to the partner E20. So under logical system, this one, you can see that it's an inbound parameter for this particular message type or IDOC type orders. If I click on this one, you can see that there is an option of trigger immediately. So if this option is selected, then the moment the IDOC gets created in the system will start processing it. And then if the other option trigger by background program is selected, then what happens? You need to collect all those IDOCs and then you need to process it via transaction called BD20. So most of the times what we do, we schedule a job of BD20 with the particular message type and then an interval of 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes the job runs and then picks all the IDOCs which are in ready to process stage, or which is like to be processed in background mode, and then it starts processing it. So BD20 is one. So I'll be talking about a real-time scenario now. What happens? So there is a store, a retail store, which serves the small customer and then big customers. So for example, a store called Walmart. So they offer a lot of discount. So you can directly visit their store and then you can order some product, and then at the same time that store also acts as a big warehouse, and then big orders are also delivered from this. So normally when you go to a Walmart store, you put some order there, and then what happens in their system, a PO will be created, first purchase order. Against that, it all happens in the back end. We don't get to see it. We immediately see the invoice, but then because it's a small order, most of the cases less than 100 quantity, so it happens very quickly. So system creates a PO, against that it creates a sales order, then checks the stock and delivers it, and then creates an invoice. So we finally get the invoice. And then for PO, the IDOC type is PO ORD CR1. This is, sorry, message type. Now, what happens? So you went to Walmart store, you placed an order, let's say, and then there is so it's getting routed through the same server. At the same time, there is a big order coming from a big vendor of some 10,000 line items. You are placing an order for 10 line items. But what happens? This 10,000 line item, because it's also the same message type and IDOC type, it's in process. Because why it's in process? Because we selected the option of processing immediately. Okay, so so I just showed you that option. So so that is also getting processed. Now it might take some 30 minutes. So you cannot keep on waiting for 30 minutes to get the order, so to get your order delivered. So what we have to do in that case, or what okay, so what would be the possible solution? So we'll just set these big orders because they are not going to be delivered immediately. So we'll just set the partner profile for this message type or IDOC type message type in background mode. For this one, we'll select this in foreground mode. But then there is a question. Since both the message type and IDOC type are same, how we can differentiate it? So this IDOC, the quick order, your order is going to be entered manually, while this IDOC is going to be created via middleware. So SAP provides a differentiation here. Apart from message type, you can give a message variant, some 1, 2, 3, and then message function further 1, 2, 3, which means if the message type is orders, then we can give a message variant at 0, 1. So what generally we do in this case, whenever we get a big order which is coming via middleware will also assign it as a message variant 0, 1, while in this case which is being added manually, nothing will be assigned. So that way we can differentiate both the IDOCs, and then in the partner profile, we'll get one entry like orders 0, 1, other entry will be just orders. So you can select orders 0, 1, go here, make it trigger by background program, which will be taken care by BD20, and then just the one just orders, you can let it be like process immediately. So these are different ways of processing it. And the other important T code would be WE09. So this T code, normally what happens, let's say you sent an IDOC from your source system to a target system, and then you have a lot of IDOCs. So you want to find out which IDOC is actually corresponding IDOC to my source IDOC. For example, source IDOC is 1, 2, 3. So you want to identify which is the resultant IDOC of 1, 2, 3 in my target system. So what you can do, you can provide the segment name. For example, in the case of material, we can give it like E1 MARM. That was the main segment, and then we can give the field name as uh, Matner. Value, you can give them value like 9 something, and then hit on execute. So you'll get the IDOC. which is the resultant IDOC of your source system IDOC. So that is another important T code. So I came through one interesting link on SAP technical related to IDOC example, and I'm sure most of you would have gone through it. But in this case, what they are doing, they are creating a custom segment and then a custom IDOC type, custom message type. So I would say simply ignore this one for now, and then go through the process what I explained here. The standard process, try to send it through standard way, and then try to see whether it's working for you or not. So as you can see, we have very limited steps. It's working perfectly fine. And whenever you face any problem, you can just Google it out. But then IDOC, uh, I would say communication between two different systems, it's very easy, provided there is a proper RFC connection. And since IDOC is a language which is understood by SAP, so it's quite easy. Okay, and then, okay, one more thing I wanted to try. So I'm going to WE19, execute this, click on standard inbound. So here port is SAP T30. Okay, so I think it's going to be a 30-minute video which is quite reasonable. That is okay. I'll also so next video will be focusing on no, debugging an inbound IDOC, and then yeah, debugging an inbound IDOC, and then I think we'll be done with the IDOC concepts. But before that, I would like to take some time, and then I'd like you to go through this T code once. So in BD10, when we are sending the material, they will use a function module, specific function module. Why it's so slow? Okay. Yeah. So if you go through the code, it's simple code only, but there is a specific function model which is being used again and again. So it's basically master IDOC create request material. Okay. So this is going to trigger an outbound IDOC. So this is a specific function module for material, but then we have another function module. So master IDOC distribute. So this function module actually generates an outbound IDOC. So it will take, if I go to the documentation, okay, so this is the documentation. This function model is the interface from application to the ALE layer on the outbound side. So basically, as I said, you can, whenever you are writing a program and you want to generate an IDOC and you want to send it out of your system, then you can use this function module, master IDOC distribute. This function module takes into consideration your IDOC data, and also it takes into consideration your control data, which means your port partner profile and all these things. So the IDOC the function model which you saw in BD10, that is very similar to this one, but then that is specifically customized for material master. Similarly, if I go to BD12. So here it's specific to customer dev mass. So because it's being created by SAP, but whenever you want to do it, you can do it via standard function module, and then in this, yeah. So I think that would be all for today's session, and I have recovered slowly, and then I'll be recovering more. Uh, so we'll be discussing about IDOC more in our next video, and my target would be to take an inbound IDOC and debug it, and then show you the complete process, complete flow, how it happens in the backend, and then I think we'll just move ahead to our next topic. And I think that much knowledge of IDOC is enough for you. So thank you guys. Take care of yourself, and then see you again.